Summer 2018 was an interesting anime season for myself. It nearly burnt me out of anime, but once I scraped off all the anime I was kind of forcing myself to watch, it ended up being a pretty enjoyable season overall. Now, it is my least favorite season of the year currently, but it did have some standout series for sure. So once again, let's tackle all the shows I watched enough of to have an opinion on them. Now, if I don't cover something that you watched and enjoyed, trust me, I know of it and probably even tried it. I just don't care enough about it. So, let us begin. We have to kick off season Roundup with a show that I had no interest in, then I watched some weird clip of what appeared to be a magical girl transformation for a play, and then it ended up becoming my hidden gem of the season. This is a wonderful show. It is bizarre. I mean, you see a talking giraffe in episode 1, but what made this anime unique is the setting and how it's directed. The series follows a group of girls all training to be in this song and dance theater performance, but quickly makes the viewer question if maybe they did a few drugs before watching this show, as you're seeing magical girl level fighting scenes with talking animal commentary backing it. This one's really fun, unique, and it also deserves a lot of praise for bringing something new to the table and showing anime fans a style of theater you may not have known much about before watching this show. Banana Fish was great, and best of all, it's continuing into the next season. Tackling sexual abuse and finding a better tomorrow after a shitty life is something anime doesn't really get right that often, but the way this anime handled it is perfectly executed. Nothing about the horrible incidents that happened to the main character feel directed to be some sort of gag or fan service scene, but rather one to make you uncomfortable for a reason. This drug and gang driven anime is some of Mappa's best works to date, and I can't wait to see where the second core will go from here, as all the characters are damn lovable, or at the very least intriguing, and you never quite know what to expect, especially with so many moments that just make you feel upset, but in a good way. I adore vampires, and I think I've explained why plenty of times throughout numerous videos. I had a lot of hope going into this original from PA Works, and overall, I dug it. It never blew me away, but it never made itself feel mediocre or not needed for the genre, but rather went just above the level it needed to in order to sell itself as a worthwhile vampire anime. The vampires actually feel like vampires, the hunters of said vampires have unique quirks to them with overall fun personalities, animation is great, and this was a really fun binge. If you want an actual vampire anime, not that romance fake shit, watch this. It's pretty good, just not groundbreaking or amazing. This is an interesting series that many people probably won't like and will pass it off as the edgy show of the season, but if you followed the channel long enough, you know what most consider the edgy show of the season I generally agree with. But for me, Angels of Death was incredibly fun, as it felt like it knew what it wanted to be from episode 1. It set itself apart from the horror genre by being a bit more dark comedy than just spooky horror, and failing at that, as the horror elements were really there for the main character Rachel, not the viewer watching. With the mystery surrounding the strange murder building, it actually ended up being a pretty fun watch for myself. For every 3 people who watch it, I expect 2 probably won't enjoy this anime, but you might end up having fun just due to the unique relationship between Zack and Rachel, which was the best part of this entire anime. Not to mention the directing is some of the best of the season. If you like dude comedy, you'll probably enjoy Grand Blue. Dude comedy is that kind of like over the top dudes being really dumb, and it ends up kind of being funny. It's easy to tell if you'll dig this one from one episode alone. If you like episode 1, you'll like the season overall. It's pretty funny. Though the second core to this season of My Hero Academia wasn't the same level as say the first core of the season, it was still great overall. This arc tackles training, suit modifications, and a pretty interesting hero license exam, which doesn't end up going exactly like you might expect. This arc wasn't a masterpiece like say some of the past ones, but I still stand by what I've been saying in every season roundup with My Hero in it. This is one of the best ongoing shonen series. I really enjoy David Production's more obscure anime series, and Cells at Work more often than not was a very pleasant time that left me smiling. Tackling the human body and turning all your cells into anime tropes, it feels right at home. This is the medium for a story such as this. My only real gripe with the anime is when they introduced the cancer cell, I wasn't a fan of that arc. I liked the anime overall, and though I understood what they were going for with the cancer cell, it's just not for me. But still highly recommend this unique and fun series from David Production, and I hope at some point the spin-off series that's being made gets an anime adaptation, as that one tackles an unhealthy human body, so please give that an anime adaptation at some point in time. That just sounds wonderful. I hate it. Every trope I dislike in anime, it's here. The best thing that this show has going for it is the mysterious time travel story, but everything else is just basic bitch level. Now, I have a few subscribers who I know liked it and wanted me to review this one, but I'm sorry, I just hate it, and I watched far too many episodes before dropping it and going back to rewatch Death Note instead. I think I'm becoming a sports fan for anime. More and more I'm finding ones that I've been enjoying, and the way I could explain this is it's Haikyuu meets badminton. Characters are overall interesting, solid team rivalry, animation is stunning, and it makes a sport that I generally dislike pretty thrilling, so it's a solid watch overall. Now I'm going to do something a little different here and use a friend's opinion for this one. I wasn't a huge fan of this anime, but I didn't really have a strong opinion of it one way or another, it just really wasn't for me. But my friend Ryan was a big fan of this one, and overall he found it pretty worthwhile. So if you're into interesting historical based anime, yeah, give this one a watch if you're interested, as it was far from bad even for me, and it seems like it's a worthwhile watch overall. Now overall, my experience with the Worst World line in Steins was a pretty pleasant experience to say the least. I don't think I would count Zero and the first series as a separate entity, but more as one connected anime. This series has such an importance to the ending of the first anime, and at the same time it feels like a completely new experience. It was amazing, but when watching the first anime, be sure to watch this one right after, as it's really important for a rewatch. It's a really unique and fascinating package overall. When I say Attack on Titan is one of my favorite manga, those who have only seen the first season question why, and now that the Uprising arc has been adapted, I can answer that question finally. Attack on Titan isn't a series that newer arcs just got better over time because the author figured out how to write a story arc. It's that the future arcs, like the Uprising arc, showcase how complex past arcs actually were. Things that you thought were basic had a lot more going on than when you first thought. Attack on Titan is a political series, and this season showcases the beginning of what the series truly is and capable of. As it goes on, the series makes past arcs even more interesting and important by showcasing so many areas that we thought were basic and turning them into something that's incredibly well written because of careful layering and foreshadowing by the mangaka Isayama. And now I can say Attack on Titan is also one of my favorite anime as well. Where many series eventually get great after multiple arcs, Attack on Titan turns good arcs from its past into amazing ones because of revelations that come later in the series. Many who watch this anthology about youth weren't that impressed, but I personally loved it. This short movie tackles 3 separate stories, all about dealing with the obstacles in your life, surrounded by a similar theme of youth. By the end of the film, I was just emotionally moved as it hit something deep inside me that anime rarely does. I think there is one story in here that most will connect with, and the stories that you don't feel a deep connection to will be enjoyable enough that you still have fun. This wasn't trying to be Your Name. Yes, it's the same studio, but comparing it to Your Name is unfair. This was a new story to tell for the studio and sticks out because they weren't just trying to milk the success of Your Name by redoing it in a new setting. And that's it for season roundup. Like I said, I know there are plenty of series that many will enjoy from this season that I didn't cover, but trust me, I tried most that were hyped up, and they weren't really my cup of tea and almost burnt me out of anime this season. Overall though, this was a pretty enjoyable season with some interesting standouts like Revue Starlight or even Flavors of Youth, anime I wasn't anticipating but then ended up sticking out so much. Heavy hitters like Steins and Attack on Titan in one season is awesome as well. But of course you also have things like Banana Fish teaching so many series who is truly boss in the season. Summer was overall pretty fun, but fall is what I'm itching for the most. But let me know what you thought of summer 2018 down in that comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content from me in the future, and if you want to help out even more, there's always my Patreon where you can directly fund the channel and receive perks as well. But until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.